Hello, my friends. It's Lori Snyder again, and I wanted to share a few plants that you can find in your garden or here at Riley Park. You find also like at the schoolyards and down the back alleys. So what a gift of this amazing abundance that's growing around us. And what I would say, always get a good phone app or a book to make sure you're identifying the proper plant, and then you can start that journey. And really it is a journey, and it's a lifelong journey, and that's why I'm so grateful to be teaching about plants, because I'm always learning more. So one of the plants that I wanted to teach you, which I think is really helpful for a few different reasons, but also because then the kids can find it, and we really want to empower our children. The living world helps us, protects us, and helps us to grow really strong. So these are the old flower heads from last year, and you can see from here down to the ground is probably about 2 feet, so they can grow quite tall, the yarrow. And I'm just breaking back some of these sticks, and I'm just going to keep them in the garden because I don't know if insects have laid eggs. So it's really actually important that we take all the leaf and all the dead plant material and leave it, which will go back into the earth and feed the soil. And that way we have an abundance of insects that are, of course, food for other creatures. And then here you can see the yarrow is just starting to grow, and I'm going to bring a little sample closer to you. What I would say in describing it, it sort of looks like a little fern or maybe a little feather. And they're fairly small. They're only like just over an inch, so what is that, 3 centimeters? And they're edible. So I can add these into my salads or my smoothies. And what you might notice is that the taste is slightly bitter. Not so bitter, because as it gets older, it gets more bitter. And bitter is important for our digestion. So it gets the gallbladder working to release bile, to come into the stomach, and then help to break down those fats. And hopefully we're eating the foods like fats that are gonna feed the brain. So the bitterness is working to support that breakdown so we can feed our brain. Another way that I can engage in my relationship with her is to make some beautiful teas. And this is going to be really good for my lungs. So this can really help to keep the lungs strong and healthy. But also if I have a cold or an infection in my lungs, then I could use the yarrow. And then, of course, for so many of us women, as we're going through our monthly cycle and we're cramping, we can actually drink those teas, and it can actually help to alleviate the cramps. Now, the reason I wanted the kids to know this plant is because sometimes children go through a process where they just seem to get nosebleeds. No apparent reason. I suspect it could be something to do with a little bit of stress or anxiety or nervousness, but all of a sudden their nose is bleeding, which can be a little embarrassing for them, but also, nobody wants to touch anybody's body fluids, and everybody, kind of feels a little uncomfortable or whatever. What you can do is come and find the yarrow. Hopefully it's growing in your garden. We find it out in the grasses, not with the big long the stalk, because of course they're mowing the lawn all the time. But if you look in the grass, you'll most likely find some yarrow. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that plant and you're going to roll it up. And what I'm doing is I'm releasing its medicines. I'm releasing those essential oils. And then what I'm going to do is just stuff it up my nostril. I know I look kind of ridiculous, but I will tell you, 1, it smells amazing, and 2, it stops the nosebleed instantaneously. So yarrow is a plant that has been on the planet for, at least 60 to 65,000 years. It was discovered in the northern part of Iraq in the Kandahar caves on a Neanderthal man. And during the medieval times, they would grow it out in the fields. So when they were doing their sword fighting, if they got stabbed, they just grab a handful and put it on that wound to stop the blood. And even during the First World War, the soldiers had this in their pockets. So here is a beautiful plant that's going to help us with our lungs, help us with our cramping. It gives us good digestion. It actually can be infused in vinegars for its mineral content. And then of course it can help these young people when they get those embarrassing nosebleeds. So what I'm just gonna do is come closer to the camera, and I'm gonna take another little leaf here so you have a better idea what that looks like. And it really does look like a little fern or a little leaf. So my friends, enjoy